Our top story tonight, some going down in November.
Wars, spending.
There has got to be something big a-brewing.
They're using geese to guard prisons in Brazil. Does Biden know what
Immigration
Mexico
policies.
is? Would you scare Joe Biden? What are we laughing at? I think
Butthole.
Billy Mays was real.
I'm a world-class skeptic.
I don't know anything about Hunter Biden. I don't know who's big into cocaine and laptops. Why is that our problem? Complete, absolute incompetence. Like, who funds the news? It's a freaking inside job, man. That the entire world's a stage and everything's fake.
Welcome back to another episode of the Veritas Road. If you weren't feeling suicidal this holiday season, listen to this episode. It's going to be a good time. We normally start out this portion of the show with a silly bit. I actually have a serious story tonight. A young man in and around Hollywood was apprehended for suspected human trafficking earlier this week. Though he wishes to remain anonymous at this point in time, his friends and family have come out in force in his defense, suggesting he's incapable of such behavior, while a large number of young men and women from the local community have presented some relatively damning evidence regarding the young man's actions. The case is set to be heard in a local California court early next month, but the one question everybody seems to be asking regarding whether or not he really did take an active role in the alleged crime is, did he?
Oh, dude, hey, that might be your best one yet. Just because the build-up was just, oh, this is lasting forever. This is lasting forever. How's he going to resolve this?
Right.
One word, well done, super clever.
It's like an orgasm.
And it's not even fake. Did Diddy's family defend him?
I doubt
Does he
it.
have family?
I don't know. Can we look into the Combs family sometime?
Is that his name, Combs?
Sean Combs, I believe, is his actual name.
Oh. Is he related to Luke Combs?
I don't know who that is.
I doubt
Maybe.
it. Luke Combs is a huge fat white guy from North Carolina.
Oh, then probably not. Yeah, everybody calls him Sean P. Diddy Combs.
Oh. So it's like his nickname from the hood is Diddy?
Diddy was his artist name. It was Puff Daddy, then it was Puff Diddy.
Oh.
And then you remember?
I remember
Puff
that.
Daddy from back in the day?
Yeah, so it's like
We're old enough to be able to say that now, which I hate.
it's like a rap version of Prince, because Prince was like Prince, and then he was formerly Prince, and then he was a symbol.
Well, that's
Right.
not quite the same. So I think, and people fact check me on this if you want, but I'm pretty sure Prince changed his name to that symbol because of copyright issues.
I don't know.
I think that's why he did. Everybody made fun of him, including me, but I think that's why he did that there for a little bit. That was one of the reasons.
You're loud as hell in my headphones. I'm thinking
Do you need to
right
turn
now.
your headphones down?
I think, John, this is going to be a perfect test for you to actively produce. Can you turn Carson down just a little bit? Because he was just screaming about Prince in my ear. That's what it felt like to me.
Do you sound loud in your headphones as well?
No, I sound fine. Can you just turn Carson
his
down
headphones
just a
down.
little bit? Just my headphones? Oh, my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yes, his headphones.
All right, well, this has now devolved into... No, that's not what I said.
That's what. With the way you said that, that's what was implied.
Well, I didn't mean that at all.
I think you're turning me down. Yep, you're turning my headphones
Okay.
down, John.
All right. Well, did you fail the test? Maybe. That's better.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's
All
better.
right, turn me back up, John. We need to label those so that this isn't a problem. Nope, more. Huh? Maybe I'm just retarded then. I don't know. So now that we can hear, well, I could hear all along. Apparently, you could hear too much.
I think it's worse now.
Well,
I'm serious. John, turn my headphones down like a lot.
You deaf son of a. We gotta move that to where it's closer to John too. It's way too far away.
Okay. All right, Carson, talk.
Test.
Nothing
test.
changed.
I don't know how well I can hear me anymore, honestly.
Is he turning the right one?
I don't know. John, turn that back up. Turn line 1 back up. Turn it all the way. Just turn it right. Oh! All right, so that's me. That one's me.
I was right all along.
You were.
You're the worst.
So.
Oh, much better.
All right. So.
Okay, we're good.
Are we good?
Yeah.
All right. So, now that we've gotten wildly off track, let's talk about the the news this week. John, go ahead and pull up my story. Nothing too wild for me, but so Kamala Harris is debating whether or not she should run for California governor, which why is a woman who doesn't believe in anything, who ran on absolutely no campaign, right? Like I'm pretty sure her campaign slogan was what? Joy. That was the platform she ran on. No policies, no ideas, no concepts. She's running on joy. So why does she feel like she needs to put in a bid for California governor, much less potentially run for president in 2028? Furthermore, were you aware that her campaign raised no less than $1 billion?
I wasn't aware of that. Doesn't surprise me. Okay, doesn't surprise me one bit. She probably has direct access to the Fed, and they just put it in her campaign account. We got a problem here, though.
What?
California's gonna be counting votes in 2028. They're still gonna be counting, aren't they? Still
True.
counting?
Are they?
I'm
Still?
pretty sure California's still counting votes.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So how can she run for governor of California if she technically still may become the president?
It's true.
What an absolute joke. Who gives an F about that?
Right.
I don't even know what to say to
They
that.
are.
That's what I thought, dude.
California is still counting votes.
Yeah. Probably all the dead illegals that are still voting somehow.
Oh, that and they probably have to handle them with like rubber gloves just in case they're laced with fentanyl out there.
Oh, yeah, but how do you handle them if they're on a computer? Do they still have paper votes in California? Wouldn't
That's a good
California
point.
be like the... You could probably still get fentanyl through the computer. California's that bad. Yeah, that's dumb.
Wow.
I mean, she's just trying to stay relevant, right? Like,
Yeah.
what's Kamala doing right now? Just sulking in Hawaii still?
I think she's back from Hawaii. I think she's doing vice president stuff, pretending to
That's
talk
right.
to...
We're in this
other
weird period
people.
where, like, Biden's still the president, and so is Kamala,
Right.
but it doesn't seem like it because Trump won.
Yeah.
It's a weird period.
Yeah. It's very strange.
Especially when it goes into 2025.
Yeah.
For like
Between November 8th and January 20th of the next year, it's such an awkward period of time.
Yeah. So, has the Electoral College happened yet?
That happens...
Happens this week.
Yep.
Okay, so something.
Soon.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll see if any votes flip-flop.
That's right.
That's what John thinks is going to happen.
I mean, not as much anymore because it was just a massive landslide victory. I thought if it was close, that might happen, but
Maybe a bunch of people. Maybe there'll be a bunch of never-Trumpers who decide to go to the Electoral College.
Hey, well, you know who's
I
not...
mean, they've already been... They're chosen way well in advance for that.
Or maybe there are a bunch of never-Trumpers.
Speaking of a never Trumper,
Mm-hmm.
or he's going to be a Trumper now. Let's look at my news.
Oh, I'm excited.
So I've never been able to say this guy's name. All right, it's
Do you need help?
George Stephanopoulos.
Stephanopoulos.
Yeah, good Lord, man. Why can't he be George Stevens? Take off that Opolos and join America, you foreigner. But anyway, you know how they always say Trump's broke and stuff,
Yeah.
and how he had all these bankruptcies and all these failed businesses.
He's only had like 3.
Well, George Stephanopoulos fixed it because he's got to pay. He's got to pay Trump $15 million. And
Well, that's nothing to those people.
I just love that because
That's like me handing you a 20. That's what that is.
$15 million is a ton of money, dude.
Not to them.
To George Stephanopoulos?
Stephanopoulos.
I mean, it's not to Trump. But you think he just has $15 million to give out?
I don't know. He was the mayor of New York for a hot minute, dude. He probably has a ton of money.
Well, my whole point with bringing up this story is they can't complain about Trump being bankrupt because now they're literally funding him.
Well, I mean,
which is awesome.
He's always been a billionaire, so why are we complaining about him being bankrupt? The whole goal was to be like, oh, he's actually a bad businessman because he's had companies that filed bankruptcy, but that never held any weight with anybody.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't a bad businessman be like living in a tent, homeless, after everything you do failed, not being a billionaire? How are you a bad businessman if you're a billionaire? And just
you inherit a bunch of money from your dad. That was the argument. You got all your money from your dad, and you had businesses go bankrupt. I'm not saying it made sense or it was logical, but that was the argument.
Well, I'm glad that George is funding Trump now, and I love it. And I hope Whoopi's next. I hope Whoopi.
I would love that.
And who else hates it? Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh my gosh, have you seen that clip that's been going around of Trump when he went on The View?
Oh, I have seen that. Isn't that crazy? They
It's
were like
insane.
They were like praising her.
Yeah.
They're praising him. All of them were like loving him. And
Yeah. When are you gonna run for president? Like, what the hell?
yeah, Rogan talked about that on his interview. I'm pretty sure, or was that Oprah? He might have talked to. The same thing happened with Oprah, I think,
Right.
but
They all used to love him, and then just somebody flipped the script, and they all want to murder him now.
I don't know. I just found that hilarious. So Trump wins again.
Yep. All right. So let's get into the heavy stuff.
The heavy stuff.
Yeah.
We got a special episode tonight.
Episode.
because-
Yeah, it's our 33rd episode, which is kind of a big deal for us.
Oh yeah.
So this is a little bit of an anti-celebration that we're having. Mark's gonna make me want to kill myself.
Well, I mean, come on. How we got to talk about it.
yeah.
You can't ignore the elephant in the room. Being in the line of work we are. Okay.
Right.
This is like one of the top conspiracies ever.
It's true.
Would you agree with that? I
Yeah,
mean,
I would.
it's top 5 for sure. And that is the Masons. Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
Carson, you hate this topic. Why do you
I
hate this
do.
topic?
It's so dark. It's so depressing. It makes me feel so hopeless. I have a hard time waking up the next day.
Lay it all out. Come on. Keep sharing.
I mean, that's what it is. Every time I dig into looking into like the organizations that are owned by the Masons, Masonic teachings, any of that stuff, I end up feeling so aggressively hopeless, so sad, so lost, so discouraged that I think the last time I looked into it, it took me like 2 months to psychologically recover.
Yeah, it's some dark crap. We got to
Yeah.
set some context though, and I don't know, this is going to go probably everywhere, but I did want to start at one place that can maybe connect this topic with the common man or the propagandized man, okay? So our founding fathers, right? We're taught that they are just awesome, that they are, they're basically holy, right? In American propaganda.
The way we talk about them, yeah.
Right, they could do no wrong. They were the legendary champions of freedom.
Right.
Guess what every single dang one of them were?
Yeah, they were all Masons.
They were all Masons. So that right there, let's think about it logically. Remove the emotion from it. Oh, y'all are crazy conspiracy theorists. Verified facts, they're all Masons.
That's
all
a
right?
national treasure.
Right. If we all love America and we are founded upon the ideals and the philosophies of these boys, the founding fathers, therefore, Masonry, at the very least, warrants investigation.
That's true. I would agree with
Anybody disagree with that logical conclusion?
that. Yeah.
All right. If you
Makes
do,
sense.
then you're lying to yourself because I can't see any flaws in that argument.
It's fair.
So all these people we revere are Masons. So what does that mean? Does that mean they're bad? I don't know. You have to look at what the Masons actually believe, which is like a massively, like, it's so complicated, it's overwhelming.
Yeah. Well, it's so
So-
secretive too. It's hard to look into it.
But is it though? Like the problem is like I think it's like laying on top of a if you're like the size of this beer glass here and you're laying on top of King Kong. Well, maybe you just think you're laying on a rug. But it's freaking right in front of you, you know? It's freaking huge monster, but you're just so small
Oh,
compared
if
to
I was the size of this beer
Right,
glass and I was laying on top of King Kong.
You would maybe think it's a rug. You would think nothing's out of place, nothing's weird. But even though you're literally laying on top of a monster, that probably wasn't the best analogy. But that's kind of how, that's kind of like what it is. Like, I don't even think it's that secretive. All their stuff's out in the open.
Well, you don't, but you've also been looking into it for a
Right.
decade now. So it's a little bit different.
No,
than
not
the
that
average
long.
Joe.
Since 2018. But
Okay, so 6 years.
yeah, but still, my point is, it's not like obviously there's some mega secrets about it, but their philosophies are out in the open. They talk about it. All their books you can research. Now some of them are hard to find, but they do exist.
Right.
There have been people who have gotten a lot of their like internal writings published out in the open, and like I said, like many of the most prominent people in American culture and around the world, you know, as hopefully we'll show you tonight, are freaking Masons.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
no, I mean it's all
the
over.
secret. The secret is almost like it's a secret because you don't want to look into it. Does that make sense? Like it's a secret because we're so distracted. It's not a secret because it's impossible to find out. Did that, if that made any sense at all?
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes a ton of sense. Like most people, myself included, like most of the time, why would you look into it? You know, you pass your local Masonic lodge 2 or 3 times a week. You don't think anything about it. Maybe you have some friends that go there, but obviously they don't really talk about it. So, like, you know, it's out of sight, out of mind, more or less. And, you know, maybe you see the odd symbol out in public, right? But by the time you make it home, you've forgotten about it. And for those people who do begin to look into it, once you reach a certain point, a lot of the information is, once it begins to become dark, it becomes discouraging such that you don't want to broach the subject anymore.
Yeah, that, and you start seeing this stuff everywhere, dude. Like, it is literally everywhere.
Right.
Like, we'll get into it, okay? There's, obviously, Masonry has varying degrees of initiation. So the whole idea is...
So, yeah, let's kind of, let's talk about who and what they are, and then branch out into that.
Yeah. Well, who and what they are, you're going to get... They're going to say one thing. The mainstream's going to say another thing.
Right.
The truth might be a third option.
Yeah.
Like...
Let's talk about that.
I don't know. All right, let's go mainstream first. Mainstream first is it's just a fraternity that is no different than any other club. They do a bunch of good stuff. They fund hospitals. They drink beer on Friday nights. Just old people. You said, they got a lodge in every... Sorry, I got the freaking hiccups. They got a lodge in, like, every suburban county everywhere, pretty much.
Yep.
Just a really old fraternal organization, just a bunch of guys having a good time. It's basically what they try to pass off the mainstream as.
Yeah. And there are a ton of those. And, you know, every town across America, like you said, is there a bunch of bros who go to their local lodge.
Yeah. And
most of them are over the age of 50, but there are a good amount of them.
Yeah, and to be fair, like, probably 90% of Masons are that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if I'd call them good people, but, like, average people, just a normal...
They're good people the same way, like, when you talk about somebody, your friend, you know, everybody's like, oh, he's a good guy. Like, they're, you know, like... You don't know.
But not like...
Nobody's going around murdering anybody.
Right,
you know?
right. Not like Franklin cover-up level of,
right.
Like...
Nobody's child trafficking. They're just normal people.
Right. Yeah, just normal, everyday people in America. But the leaders of each different lodge... That's just the thing. They have leaders.
Right. Yeah.
So a lodge leader's going to be in the weeds a little bit more. Right. He's going to have probably been there the longest, or at least be the most gung-ho into it, because he's the one that's going to want to get promoted and going to climb up the ranks. Right. So they have internal ranks called degrees.
Right.
And each degree has rituals to... and oaths. That's hard to say. The promises.
Oaths?
Yeah, that you take
to
move up a degree.
Okay.
And all this is freaking documented, like, in their own literature. That's what, you know, where people will call you, they'll just jump in and say conspiracy theories. No, all this is in the open. It's just you got to go look for it. I'm sure it's the first time we'll mention this video, but it won't be the last. Australian guy, he was on the X Factor.
Altian Childs?
Altian Childs. Like, he was popular, mega popular, like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
10 to 7 years ago. And then, like, he fell off a cliff. I read a little bit about his story on Wikipedia. It's very interesting. Like, when he fell off a cliff.
He fell off a cliff?
No, like, his career, like, fell off a cliff.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, and when because he was, like, mega popular, like, 10 years ago in Australia.
He was.
And when this came out, like, it's pretty clear his career fell off a cliff because he came out with this video. But he came out with a 5-hour video exposing all of this, like, mega great breakdown. He had like 15 of their own books, and I've actually listened to, we'll get into this too, like about 200 pages of what is termed the Masonic Bible, Morals and Dogma by Albert Pike. But
real quick, just a PSA on that, like, buyer beware. That video is super dark.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
super dark.
You gotta be ready if you're watching that.
If you're gonna watch it, like, don't watch it around your kids.
Yeah, it's not kid friendly. It's not,
or anyone who's super sensitive. Like, that video is dark.
But my point with bringing that up is they have each degree fewer and fewer people.
Right.
Okay, you probably got a bunch of people in your normal first degree Masons. Those are the people we're talking about. You have, and I don't know the names. All of them have different names, and they're all freaking weird. Like I think 23 is like Master of the Hidden Veil or something.
They do have weird names.
All of them have different names. They're all in there.
Can we look those up, John? Look up the names of the degrees of Freemasonry. I'm kind of curious. Go on, man.
Yeah, because that's super important later, because you can tell who's a Freemason by the symbolism and what they're doing.
Okay.
But I'm trying to describe the general structure.
Right.
Basically, and obviously there's going to be less and less people as each degree goes up.
Right.
Okay? And each one of them has their own secrets. And they all take oaths to never reveal anything.
Yeah. Which is strange.
Right? And it's punishable by death in their own literature.
Wait, what?
Yeah, dude. Like, they have the right, and it's not like, again, Altian Child, like, shows the specific oaths they take and, like, the specific wording. Like, they're not saying we're going to kill you, but it's implied that they have the right to kill you.
If you like, share the information outside of the fraternity.
Right. Now, that doesn't mean they will. And, if you're just a level 1 Mason.
You probably don't know enough for it to matter. Anyway.
Right, and it's just going to be like a joke. Oh, why would, there's no secrets to reveal. It's just like a fun, it's just like have a club when you're a kid, you know? It's like, you can't enter without the password. It's kind of like an adult version of that.
Right.
But once you go more and more up the ranks, that gets more and more applicable, because more and more knowledge is revealed to you.
Right.
It's like a compartmentalized pyramid.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, man.
Pyramid, yeah.
Which is interesting because pyramids and masonry is one of the main things.
They go hand in hand.
They go hand in hand, not just because the mainstream says that, like, masonry originated as a bunch of stone workers.
Right.
In, like, the 1700s.
That is, which I always found strange.
That is.
Why would they have a fraternity like that? You know?
Yeah, and even if they did, how would that evolve into what it is now?
Also, where's the clothes where's the clothes weavers fraternity? Right?
Okay, what I will say is that makes a little bit of sense, because it's like you look in like kind of ancient time guilds did exist across a bunch of different types of trades. So if the argument is that they're like a stone workers guild, that would make sense, because that exists among a bunch of trades.
Nobody's arguing that.
I get that, but what's strange, right, is there's no like apothecary fraternity, right? There's no field workers guild, and there's none of that. There's just Freemasons.
Right, Carson. There's that angle, which is true, man. And there's also, was Buzz Aldrin? Did he build with rocks? Okay. Well, is freaking Obama a stonemason? No. Okay. That's just stupid.
Well, yeah, but I mean
the point I was making, just their story of how it originated can make sense in the mainstream.
And I mean, that in and of itself isn't that absurd, but when you look at it in the greater landscape of the fact that, to the best of my knowledge, there are no other like trade fraternities like that still exist, it doesn't make any logical sense, because why would there be just one diamond in the rough? So it's strange, aggressively strange from that aspect.
Well, by their own philosophy, they're all about the grand architect, man. They worship the grand architect and of the universe, which is in Morals and Dogma. Like everything with the Masons like has a double meaning, and it's saying sound good, but nothing is ever specific.
Right.
Like to get in, to get into the Masons, you have to believe in a higher power. No atheists are allowed in Freemasons. So there's Freemason Christians, there's Freemason Muslims, there's Freemason Buddhists. They don't let atheists in. Which right then and there, you think.
So Richard Dawkins is not a Mason. Is that what you're telling me?
Oh, well, I guess not. I guess he couldn't be.
Right.
Either one, he's not a Mason, or two, he's lying about being an atheist.
Interesting. Are these the names of the? Are there any weird ones, John? Have you noticed any strange ones?
I mean,
of the degrees. I can't read them from here. So, does that say Fries of the Tabernacle? What is that? Prince of the Tabernacle. That's what that says.
Yeah. So is this correct at what y'all are wanting to look at? Let me zoom in a little bit.
Yeah. And pause. I should have started at the beginning. The Scottish Rite is the main one. That's like the
Scottish Rite of Freemasonry.
right. That's the official one. That's the one Albert Pike was in. That's the one that rules everything. There's like tons of different little sub things, but the Scottish Rite are the bad boys.
I mean, I will say 23 and 24 is freaking bizarre, dude.
Chief
of the Tabernacle, Prince of the Tabernacle, like.
How about 25, Knight of the Brazen Serpent? That's a little weird.
Dude, I know that it's
Prince
all
of Jerusalem, like. Some of these are pretty freaking weird.
And what does that have to do with building a rock fence? Provost and judge. Interesting.
You know, it's symbolic of they're building something else.
Sublime Knight Elect. Well, scroll back up for a second, John. Sublime Knight Elect of the 12. That's the 11th rite. What in the world?
Yeah, and I think this is in Morals and Dogma. I'm probably gonna butcher this, but I'm pretty sure most Masons never make it past 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is in.
This starts at 4. Oh, no, here are the first ones. Okay, what? I can't read those.
First is entered apprentice. Second is fellow craft. 3 is master mason.
It sounds like something you'd like get on Minecraft.
I'm not 100%. I know I've read that somewhere because I'm telling y'all, I have poured through this crap. Shaking My Head Productions, I think they got deleted off of YouTube, but they had some fantastic documentaries on Freemasonry and the symbolism of it, and like guys just going through their temples and stuff, and it might have been in one of those videos, but I'm pretty sure from their own literature, most of them don't make it past 3, which is interesting because I'll point this out, and it's an homage to our episode. So see Master Mason right there, the 3rd rank, which is what most people don't get past.
All
if
right.
you take MAS and just basic numerology,
Okay.
right? That's Sam. You know, if you go backwards, it doesn't matter the order. That's a 33,
All right. But okay.
So
we're just pulling letters out.
No,
randomly?
I'm not pulling them out randomly. So MAS from Master and MAS from Mason, that's a 33 on both sides.
Okay.
If you take a 3 and a 3, so it's just like funneled 33s, which is crazy.
Interesting.
See what I'm saying there?
Okay. So numerologically speaking,
Yeah,
it seems
numerologically
pretty significant.
Yeah, it's layered in 33s, and
Yeah.
it's the 3rd degree,
right.
which is just super interesting. And everybody always says Uncle Sam. Well, that's a 33 right there. Uncle Sam, the personification of America,
Right.
is freaking Masonic, man.
Interesting.
An old man who is SAM, which is 33 in numerology.
Okay, so there are 33 degrees of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. You're telling me most
Right.
people never make it past 3.
Right.
And the
Right.
penalty of sharing information is death? That seems insane.
That's straight from their own literature and their oaths, man.
Can women be Freemasons?
No.
I didn't know that.
Now, there is a Freemasonic equivalent called Order of the Eastern Star, which is women Freemasonry.
Okay. I met a lady on a job who was going to like some kind of Masonic meeting in Nashville here, and so I wondered then, and I meant to ask you about it.
Well, maybe they can now. Maybe they've changed everything, like in the mainstream thing, in their actual practices. Not a chance, dude. I think that's never going to change. And no.
Well,
Okay.
what I'm looking at here is the Masonic Lodge of British Columbia and Yukon, and it's just listing these women's orders as separate. So
Yeah, see, Order of the Eastern Star on there. That's definitely the most famous one from what I've looked into. I mean, look how weird these are, y'all. Daughters of the
Nile.
Like, what the frick?
They have youth orders. That's scary.
Yeah.
Job's daughters. What in the hell?
Isn't that weird? All right, for those of you who aren't familiar with the Bible, like, Job is a massively weird book. All of Job's kids initially get killed by Satan, essentially.
Yeah.
Now, God allows it. But when you're saying Job's daughters, I don't think they're talking about the ones that got replaced. I mean, maybe you just got
Maybe they are.
Maybe you got to like
We don't
die
know.
and get replaced. Regardless, it's freaking weird because Job is just
That's a strange book.
yeah,
So,
just all kinds of weird symbolism, weird titles. Like for a book that's a fairy tale that was written by men, over a bunch of years that people in modern secular society just kind of laugh at. why are the most powerful people in the world in a fraternity that literally spans the entire world, spans hundreds and hundreds of years, that finances tons and tons of things, why are they naming all their crap after Bible stuff?
Right. There's that. But also, like, why have the Masons attracted so many of the powerful people of the world? You know, there are tons of different books and orders that come from those books that haven't gained nearly the traction in the elite that the rite of Freemasonry has. Like, you know, there are some powerful Scientologists, right? But and I'm sure there are some powerful Mormons, but nothing like the Freemasons. You know, nothing like the Freemasons.
Yeah, two things there. Your point's totally valid. Like, there's a bunch of individualized points of power in these weird kind of cultic seeming things. The Scientology is who's the leader of that?
Oh, jeez.
He's a super famous man.
Yeah. What's his name? Damn it. Remember his name?
It's not.
I don't want to look it up because I want to remember it.
Look up the leader.
It's something like, it's a double type of name. It's like,
Damn it. Just look it up.
I bet if you look, and my second point is, if you look far enough into it, I bet some of the leaders of these
Miscavige.
What?
It's the David Miscavige.
That's not
him.
That is not the founder of science.
Look up the writer
you're saying
of the
founder?
book.
Oh,
Yeah.
not the current leader.
Right.
No.
Okay, we all said current leader.
Murph said current leader.
L. Ron Hubbard. Yeah. I knew.
The first time I heard his name, I thought it was Elrond, like in Lord of the Rings, and I thought that was cool. But
Yeah.
it's not. It's L, the letter L.
No,
Ron
I bet.
Hubbard.
All right, here I'm going to place I'd bet on this. If you gave me 5 hours, I could find proof that he's a Mason.
So you think that the Church of Scientology is some kind of offshoot of
Yeah.
the Masons?
Yeah. I think everything like that.
It's a bold claim.
I think everything like that is.
Who's going to break it to Tom Cruise?
Oh, John? No. Tom Cruise is in the club. John, can you pull up my picture of Tom Cruise there?
It's going to take 4 hours for him to do that, bud. You sent a million pictures.
Oh, shoot, man. Can you not preview them as thumbnails? Add on it.
Y'all keep talking. I'll find it.
Yeah.
Hey, John, up in the right-hand corner, if you change it to the thumbnail, right-hand corner. There you go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I thought it would send as. Pull up Tom Cruise there, John. Right there. It's the fifth one. Tom Cruise is already in the club, bud.
He divorced all three of his ex-wives when they turned 33? Oh, wow. Hey, Nicole Kidman's hot.
I want to touch on these symbols. So each degree, see what Tom Cruise is doing there? This is a perfect example. Each degree that you're in,
Of Freemasonry.
right, has like varying symbols that accompany it along with the ritual you take to get in it. So
Yeah, and to the best of my knowledge, these are like hand symbols,
Right,
or things you'll do.
Exactly. So
Okay.
it's a twofold thing. You do a ritual to get into the degree, which are detailed. Some of them are like gruesome. Like Altian Childs, the farthest he got was like drank blood from a skull, or drank wine from a skull. And I forget what degree that was. That's the farthest he got before he realized what was happening and he wanted out.
Yeah.
But I mean, some of them are like carrying human heads and all kinds. Like, it's dark. I'm telling y'all, this is dark. But the second part of it is, once you're in the degree, you got stuff you do to signify to other Masons via revelation of the method, which is part of their philosophy, which we can get into a little bit later. But I want to cover the symbols. So
it's like to let people know what degree you're in, kind of?
yeah, right. But that's not the reason they do it. I mean, the reason they do it is because it's like karma. Like, if we tell you we're doing it, then technically it's your fault that you're getting screwed over. It's kind of the idea behind revelation of the method. And this is in their philosophy, dude. They 100% believe in this. It's a cult crap of revelation of the method. They'll be like, hey, if we tell you, in their mind, this is them telling you from their point of view. Like, obviously from our point of view, it's trickery, right? It's deception. But from their point of view, they can get away with it if they let you know what they're doing. And
But we have connect that back to the symbol, the hand symbols.
The symbols are a revelation of the method. They're letting you know what they've done via their rituals, what degree they're in, what their philosophy is on the outlook of this world, and how they live their life. Most common ones and I've got in this list of screenshots freaking every celebrity you can think of doing this. All right.
I know, like in the Altian Childs video, there's
Right.
the eye thing.
The one eye,
cover of
one eye is massively common. Everybody's seen the all-seeing eye on the back of the dollar bill. That connects to that. That's part of the grand architect in the universe. That's their god.
It's all over National Treasure too.
Right. Is represented by the one eye. Okay, and just because I do this, I want to state I'm not a Mason. I want nothing to do with their crap. I hate all of them, and I am not one. But I'm going to demonstrate the symbolisms. It's all about intent. Another super common one is the 666 OK sign.
I don't see how that's a 666, but okay.
You know, you got your 6. It's 3.
It's 3 6s.
Yeah.
So you're saying these are all like one? These
Right.
are all like the
Right.
and it makes a 6.
Right. Another common one is the devil horns.
Okay.
And then the mocking tongue.
Like the rocker symbol,
yeah.
the devil horns, and the
And then the having your tongue out. And then you've got the triangle.
having your tongue out is a Masonic symbol. I
Yeah,
see
yeah.
a lot of 3-year-olds do that. So that's
I'm not. I mean, obviously, you could take this too far. Like, not everything that everybody does is a freaking Masonic symbol, and I'm not saying that. But I think if you take the totality, like the preponderance of evidence, especially in like official photo shoots and like on magazines and crap, with their literature,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've seen.
doesn't take too long to draw a conclusion. And then the last one
Right.
is the hidden hand, right?
Which you do see a bunch of that in
Right.
like news media.
Oh yeah, Fauci does it. We
Right.
could pull up a video of Fauci doing it.
Yeah.
And they have their own secret Masonic handshakes. Like the ones I just did are the most common. They're perfect example, John. That's a bunch of one eye symbolism. You cover your all. I mean,
Well, then there are a ton of the one eye, all seeing eye, whatever it is. Like there's a ton of information on that out there. You can hop on YouTube and see videos on that.
Oh, yeah.
Where there are an outrageous amount of magazine covers and news cover stories where it's a bunch of celebrities covering one eye.
right. And a lot of times it'll be accompanied with symbolism. Like John, go back out of there and pull up Jason Momoa, or I could be butchering that name. So he's got the devil horns. He's got the tongue out. And sure, you could say, oh, he's just a rocker. He's just having a good time. Look at his freaking skateboard or whatever the heck that is. Look
It's got a pentagram on it.
how freaking occult that is. So you throw in that, his fame and success, like, because that guy skyrocketed after Game of Thrones,
Right.
right? He became mega famous and popular. He got into DC as Aquaman after that. And then you throw in the pentagram and all the symbols. It's just a preponderance of evidence. That's not proof of anything, and I'm not claiming it is. Maybe
Okay.
he's not a Mason.
Right.
But he's got a pentagram on his skateboard, and he's doing known Masonic symbols from their own literature. And you've got all kinds of other celebrities in that regard as well. Again,
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying? I'm not trying to say I know who is.
Right. I mean, none of it necessarily classifies as proof, but to your point, like you can only have coincidences mount up to a certain point until you're like, okay, what's really going on here? And I don't completely buy into it with everything the way some people in the conspiracy theory world do, but like, man, you can't look at all of these photos. You can't look at, all of the people talk about with like the dollar bill and all of that other stuff. Like you can't look at all of that and just laugh it off.
Oh, you can't.
So
It's way past that point with Masonry. John, go back up to our drive there and pull up the one on the dollar bill. Like, this is not a coincidence.
well, I'm just thinking of like the all-seeing eye and stuff. What is this?
Look, Star of Renfran, Star of David that we see everywhere all the time for Israel. You draw that Star of David on there on our dollar bill, starting with the M, you freaking get Mason.
Oh my gosh, dude. What in the world?
These guys run everything, y'all.
Wow.
The Star of Renfram is tied to a freaking like Nephilim, okay? Like a fallen angel.
It's just so strange that we have the all-seeing eye on the back of our dollar bill. Like,
Yeah,
that's odd.
dude. And
And why do we have a pyramid? This is America. We're not in Egypt, okay? The Nile is not here.
dude, I want to say, or is it? Maybe the Mormons got it right. I want to say this, like for the Christian nationalists out there, and man, I used to be one. This is just, they talk about God all the time. You know who they never talk about?
The
The Founding Fathers.
Oh,
The Founding Fathers.
All right.
our
That was
supposed
not clear.
I'm sorry. Our supposed like America was a Christian nation, all that crap. You know who they never talk about? And not only do they never talk about, Thomas Jefferson went so far as to take his name out of his Bible every time it showed up.
Jesus.
Jesus. God's name isn't God. They'll say, oh, that's just the divine eye of providence. That's just God watching over this country. Well, last time I checked, God's name is not God. All right, if God says you can have no other gods before me, that doesn't make any sense if his name's God. God is an idea, it's a concept. Right? The creator of this world, the God of the Bible, his name is a source of massive debate. But you get my point with this, right? Who are they freaking talking about? That's my point. When they're talking about the eye of providence, the God that guides America, the God that they trust in, we just automatically make the have the assumption that it's the God of the Bible, that it's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that it's the God that we worship on Sundays, right? We just automatically make that assumption. We're basically taught that.
So the point you're making is that like the founding fathers, this is a bold claim I think you're making if I'm understanding you correctly, the founding fathers who would refer to God in their writings, we're not talking about the God that most people who go to church on Sunday here in the States are thinking they're talking about. That they're using the word God to maybe mask a reference to some other deity?
Yeah.
Of some sort?
I don't freaking... It's a bold thing to say you know it, but...
That's a very bold claim in general.
I am 99% sure, yeah, based on their own literature. They're not talking about the God of the Bible.
All right.
Because that's what the 33rd degree of Masonry is.
Is what?
The real God. The whole thing is a screening process for worship of who they think God is.
Who do they think God is?
Lucifer.
Okay, so the common terminology, Satan.
Yeah.
The devil.
They're all Satan worshipers, right, from a Christian perspective. Now, from their perspective, they're all Gnostic. It's all occult. It's all esoteric. And they have a completely different idea of, like, good is evil and evil is good. In their mind, Lucifer is a liberator from the unjust tyranny of the God of the Bible.
All right,
okay.
so you just unpack all of that.
What do you mean?
That was a lot you just went over very quickly.
Gnostic ideas, all right, the philosophy of Freemasonry and their religion, ultimately, because I'm a Christian, and I take, like, massive objection to all of it. But their idea is that Lucifer is good. Why is Lucifer good? Because God, right, in their mind, it's Adonai. They have a name for him. He's like a demiurge. He's an imposter, okay? He's just like an arrogant guy who's pretending to be God. He's got a lot of power, but he's not the actual creator. Anyway, that God of the Bible, in their mind, is tyrannical, that he won't let humans live how they want to. He won't let humans live freely in their passions and in their love and in their will, because they'll use all these words in their literature and in the freaking morals and dogma and stuff. They're all about love. They're all about light. They're all about, the beauty of humanity and all this stuff.
Those seem like good things.
It seems like good things, but when you take it to, like, when you compare it to their actions, it's clearly not good. That's why good is a objective, man. It's just a fact. We know what good is. Anyway, so in their mind, Satan is a liberator from that God. He fought off the tyrannical nature of God. He had the strength to stand up and come down from heaven to warn humans and to give humans all this stuff that this mean God wouldn't let humans have. Like, he brings the knowledge to humans. He brings the tools to humans. He brings the light to humans. That's the whole Illuminati, like, enlightenment philosophy. Like, you're enlightened. That's what Lucifer does. It means light bringer or light bearer. So in their mind, he's a hero and he's good because the God of the Bible is bad and like an overbearing, basically like helicopter parent on steroids.
So kind of inverted from the way most people practically understand.
Yeah.
Like,
everything they do is inverted.
Christian theology.
Right. it's guised Satan worship at its highest.
That doesn't
degree.
sound guised, but okay.
Well,
doesn't sound very veiled the way you discuss
well,
it.
it's not. It's veiled in a funneling. They're not. Yeah, sure. Once you get far enough, it's open. Like they worship the devil. Just read it. Like Altian Child breaks it down, multiple different times, multiple different books. Freaking Manly P. Hall talks about it in his books. He's one of the most famous, noted 33rd degree, admitted 33rd degree Mason. He talks about it in his writings. He's got like 4 or 5 different examples, and we'll pin that video. But it's a gigantic funneling system, a pyramid scheme to funnel out Satan worshipers.
Who are they trying to? Who are they funneling out?
That's a good
though?
question. That's a good question, man.
Like, so let's assume you're correct, right?
Okay.
Which is a big assumption given everything you've talked about. But let's assume all that is correct, true, accurate, like no issues, right? Then, if you're right about it being a funneling system, then who are they culling out of the herd? You know, that would be a question I would have.
Yeah, this gets into genetics, like
Thought it was like some eugenics type stuff.
potentially. I'm serious. Like the line of man and the line of the angels are different. Everybody's familiar with Genesis 6.
Okay, so
Right.
what you're getting at is in the Bible when it talks about like angels coming down and having kids with human women,
Right. Which is
and they spawned a line of human beings that a lot of people believe are still around.
Yeah, so my thought process on that is, number one, first of all, that's a very brief mention in Genesis chapter 6, but there's an entire description of it in friggin' Enoch.
Which I
Which is-
still haven't read.
Has conveniently been left out of the biblical canon. Just saying. We'll leave that there. We'll do an episode on the canon one day. But yeah, the idea is that there's a separate bloodline on the earth, and if you're a Christian, how many times have you sung about it? You know, one little boy named David, 5 little stones he took. One little boy named David down by the Babylon brook.
Goliath.
He kills Goliath. Goliath isn't just some mega tall human. He's not just some guy who like drank a bad potion and it suddenly ended up as 9 feet. Dude, he's not human. He's a separate race. We even hear
Right.
about it in the mainstream, right? You've got Neanderthal versus Homo sapiens, right? Don't they say that there was a long time ago? Now, obviously, the years are all screwed up, but the idea is that there was 2 different bloodlines, and then one of them won out,
Yeah.
right? That's kind of a mainstream scientific idea. So just that kind of symbolism, dude. Just take it, and even with the occult, dude. Lucy, they say the last common ancestor. Lucy is the bridge between humans.
Balls back,
Yeah.
man. That is okay.
Dude, it's all everywhere, man. Everything they do is a cult. They give us their crap to the profane, and that's what they call us, the profane and the vulgar, the
Okay.
uninitiated.
Right.
To us, it means one thing. To them, it means another.
Okay, slow down.
100 times out of 100.
Slow down. I
Yeah.
know you want to barrel forward. Slow down. So, one of the things that you mentioned that's wild is, all right, I think like most people are probably in the United States, I think most people are probably like claim to be Christian, right?
Yeah.
Like the majority of the population is Christian. So, all those people would claim to believe in the Bible,
Yeah.
which discusses people like Goliath.
People
like
loose words.
giants.
Yeah.
And we just kind of move on from that. And nobody really considers the idea that if you believe the thing you say you believe, there were 10, 15 foot tall people walking around. And the wild thing is when you make a claim like that, most people will dismiss it immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately. But if you believe the thing you say if you believe this book that you claim you believe in, then you have to at least entertain that possibility. You have to.
Yeah. So who are
Logically.
who are the Masons looking for, Carson? You ever heard of
don't know what you mean.
OH negative blood?
Yeah.
I mean, the idea that there is a non-human bloodline that has, to this point...
Wait,
like,
OH negative?
I don't-
You're talking about RH?
Yeah, RH, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. The weird blood.
There's RH positive and RH negative. And
The whole angel blood
Um,
conspiracy, man.
what does that have to do with angel blood?
Like the fact that bloodlines are different and blood types are different, and one of them's like a universal or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
John, do you know what I'm talking about?
Are you getting into the idea that they're just looking for the bloodline of the Nephilim?
Yes.
Okay.
But what does that have to do with RH positive or negative? Like that, I don't understand what that has to do with anything.
That could potentially be proof that you're got Nephilim genetics, that you have angel blood in you. And I'm saying, like, this is massive speculation, but I mean, it warrants, like you said, it warrants thought process because of the Bible and everything we claim we believe in. What if, we're at the point now where they've forgotten who they are, that we're so intermixed and whatever reset we went through that they're searching out their remnants? I don't know, just an idea. Like, why are there different races at all? I'm serious. Why are black people black and white people white?
That I don't know.
Like, I mean, what are they going to claim? It's freaking natural selection? That it's like, but there's white people in the sun too. I'm serious. Right?
Yeah.
Well, if it was all sunlight working outside based, everybody'd be black.
Conceptually, I guess, like, given your paradigm at the moment.
Or at the very least. Okay. No, listen, at the very least, like, shouldn't you take the Spaniards who, like, moved to Colombia in, like, 1500? All right, we should have 500 years of data on them. Shouldn't we at least be able to see them start getting darker?
Like a darkening of the skin?
Right, because...
Well, supposedly that kind of natural selection takes hundreds of millions of years.
And that's why it's unfalsifiable and bullshit, okay? That's ridiculous, because you'll never be able to test that.
Yeah.
So, point is, we don't freaking know why black people are black and white people are white and where all the races come from. And perhaps it's got something to do with that. I don't freaking know. I mean, and I don't even know if that's the reason why the Masons are funneling people into Luciferianism. I don't know. It's an idea. Point is, we don't know, and I don't want to know because, like, sure, that's their philosophy. Could they be right?
Sure, what's their philosophy?
That God is good, God is evil, and Satan is good.
Mm.
But why don't I agree with that? Because you can see what they're doing. You can see how bad it is. You can see that they lie. You can see that they enslave humanity. You can see that they build these systems up to deceive and keep the common people down and keep humanity down. Like, you can see their fruit. That's how you know they're bad.
All right. You're jumping around again. So, we went from bloodlines to you can see what they're doing. And that's a leap. So, take us from point A to point B.
I'm not making a connection between those.
Okay.
I am leaving the
Simply
bloodlines.
Changing subject. Okay.
Yeah, I'm leaving the bloodlines up as speculation.
Well, then what are they doing? If you're going to just jump to hey, you can see what they're doing. Like, what are they doing?
What have we talked? Dude, we've talked about it on this podcast pretty much every single episode up until this point. What are they doing? They're ruining the world.
Who?
The Masons.
Where?
Everywhere.
How?
Carson, are you serious, dude? Are you serious right now? The banking system, the corporate system.
It's Masonic?
All of it.
How is it Masonic?
All of the top dogs are Masons.
How do you know?
They're symbols.
You telling me the head of GE is a Mason? I don't know. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't.
I'm saying he is either a Mason or he reports to someone who is. Everything is top down. All the top people are Masons. They're either indebted to a Mason or they're Masons. Look, do you think I'm wrong? Everybody belongs to these secret societies.
No, I don't, but I'm trying to make you prove your point.
To me, it's self-explanatory. We looked at Bohemian Grove. All the top dogs are in this weird occult things. Okay?
I mean, that's true, but what does that have to do with the Masons?
It's all the same club, man. How many of them are Masons?
I don't know.
All kinds of them. Are you telling me? All right, let's break down your logic here. Okay. I am a mega powerful billionaire.
Right.
I own ABC Incorporated. Oh, that's an actual company. I own XYZ Incorporated, okay?
Okay.
I go to Bohemian Grove because I like swimming in the swimming pool.
Right. Okay.
That appears in my mind. That's what I'm hearing you say. Now, I know you didn't say those words, but your incredulous naivety as to what is going on at these places is blowing my mind. Now, maybe I'm not a Freemason, but who this guy in this company is, you know, he's a Freemason. And even if he's not, we're all in this industry together, and we report to this guy at the government. He's probably a Freemason. But maybe he's not. But, you know, he's got a boss. All right? And his boss probably works at the Department of State. Is he a Freemason? I mean, at this point, we're getting more and more likely they are. But maybe he's not. But you know who's the Secretary of State's boss? The freaking president.
Yeah, I get it.
And he's definitely a Freemason.
I get it.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It all spins from the top down. They all follow orders. So sure, most people aren't Freemasons. Most people aren't in on anything. But most people have bosses. When you get to the boss is a Freemason. I promise you
Like
that.
the boss is
the boss's
boss's
boss.
Yeah.
That's my point. And that's how I know what Freemasonry does. It spins, it spews out vomit from the top and covers everybody in it. And it's bad. The world is clearly degrading. I mean, everybody knows that. You can just look at your life from 10 years ago and your life now. And was it easier back then or was it easier now? All of it's by design. All of it comes from the top down. And it's all based on Masonic philosophy, which is occultic philosophy, which is paganism from a Christian point of view.
I don't know. I think it's good that we've gone from respecting people like Jimmy Stewart, an all-American family man, to really being interested in Kim Kardashian, a whore with a big ass. I think that's healthy for the American population. I think we've learned good things from that. I think it's good for the youth. I think it's good.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm excited about this year's Bohemian Grove play. I'm going because I want to go to summer camp. Look up there at the picture John's got up.
All right. I'm looking at it.
It's everywhere.
So, all right, a bunch of Google and Apple symbols that are, I will say, eerily similar.
A bunch of
to
Google and Apple symbols.
Masonic symbols.
How many hundreds of millions of people use Gmail? How many hundreds of millions of people are on Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay? How many freaking people have an Android or use the App Store?
Yeah, I mean, all of those are pretty on point. The last one, I'm kind of sucks, but the rest of them are eerily similar. I'll give you that.
See that? See the main Mason sign there, the G with the the square and compass.
Yeah,
that's a 47-degree angle. You know what else is that angle? Freaking baseball field. It's very interesting if you look into the ties between Masonry and baseball.
I don't really like baseball that much anyway. I think it's boring. So, that's my take on baseball.
Well, all right. My point is that these people are everywhere. Their symbols are everywhere. They've ruled the whole world without the world knowing, even though they put it in plain sight.
Yeah, so, I mean, all right. Stopping playing devil's advocate. All of the people at the heads of these large companies, most celebrities, all of the people at like the WEF and big heads of state, all seem to be, or at least have affiliations with the Masons. And if you look at like some of the symbols they'll flash in public, some of the articles that have run about them, some of the organizations they're affiliated with, they're obviously, at the very least, it's provable that they have associations with the Masons. Oh, yeah. At the very least. And so the point you're making is that we see the direction these organizations are trying to take us. We see the things that they're driving at, and none of that is good.
Yeah.
And so we know who they are by the fruits of their labor,
exactly.
So to speak. Is we can see what the whole organization as a whole is probably driving at, because, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm not that excited about Google owning my house. You know, it'll probably happen in 5 to 10 years, but I'm not that excited about it, okay? I don't love the idea.
Carson, because of these Freemason bankers, you don't even have a house.
That's true.
I don't either.
Have a house.
Look, let me hammer this point home, okay? Then we can move on to something else. John, see that guy and the girl right there? The second row, second one on the second row.
Oh.
Yeah, that one. All right, does everybody know who that is?
I don't.
That is Louis Pasteur.
Oh, okay. Not a fan.
He is the inventor of the germ theory, which has revolutionized this world since it came out, and he's heralded as a hero, right? In the mainstream?
In the mainstream, he is.
Right. So everybody got that image in your mind? Right? See how his hand is? John, go to YouTube, please. All right. Type in YouTube on that Google there.
I think he knows how to handle this bit.
Well, sometimes he just types in math, and I wonder about him.
That's over.
That's over. I switched
gotta-
our switching
Yeah.
software.
He got a new thing.
All right. Well, actually, you might not be able. Let's see if it shows up on YouTube. They might have it shadow banned. Type in Anthony Fauci hidden hand press conference.
Oh, I bet that's still on YouTube, dude.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I say I bet it's still on.
Dadgummit, go to BitChute. Go to BitChute.
BitChute's still a thing?
Yeah, or Rumble. Yeah, Rumble will have it on there. Yeah.
Check out our Rumble channel while we're at it. Drop us a like, a
I
follow.
mean, isn't that insane? You can type in the exact same thing, and it's just Fauci propaganda. Hidden hand press conference. I'll know it when I see it.
That's would.
Help if you spelled Fauci right.
Yep.
Or Anthony Wright. Jeez, John. Good heavens. You should have found this video earlier.
It's that one. It's that one. Nope. 3 years, 104 views. I think it's that one. Yeah, that one. Nope, that one. Yep. Jesus, John, you're.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see this.
All right. Yeah, it's definitely this one.
All right. If you're listening, I'm sorry. You're not going to be able to see it, but
Keep in mind Louis Pasteur that we just saw. John, you want to pull that up again?
I'm trying to play this.
let's watch the video. Hold on.
I'm trying to make the connection. It's taking us so long to find this.
We don't need sound, John.
Yeah.
We don't need sound. So it's just a video of
Everybody look at Fauci.
White House press thing they have going on.
Boom. Pause it.
Okay, Fauci sticks his hand in his coat
Go back to Pasteur.
in the middle of a
Go back to Pasteur, John.
press meeting.
Jesus. Well.
Trying to figure.
Never mind. Well, the drama that I would love to induce
John,
is not.
drive is your first tab.
It's not happening.
There.
They are in the same club, brother. They're Masons,
I mean,
and I can't remember what degree that hidden hand is, but they are at least in the 20-something degree of Freemasonry.
Louis Pasteur was a hack. We can
Now,
start there.
let me ask you this. This is the next point. Is Fauci a good guy? What has he done? Is his works good? Is his fruits good? Are all the people that are dying of heart attacks and his freaking Orwellian nightmare that he created, or at least had a hand in, is any of that good?
Definitely not.
What has Louis Pasteur done that has been good? Right? He's created a pharmaceutical nightmare that has make millions and millions of Americans constantly sick and who can't afford to do anything because they're just constantly sick buying their meds.
Hey, he injected his nephew and his son with smallpox. He did good things.
My point remains. These people are liars. These people are evil. And ultimately, at the end of the day, they worship the devil, literally.
All right.
That's their god of enlightenment. John, I want you to pull up something else that was on this video that I couldn't believe that I'd never heard before. Zechariah 11, verse 17. This is in the Bible, which I had no idea, which they hate everything to do with the Bible and Jesus and God. They hate it.
Well, I mean,
With
if
a
they
passion.
believe what you say they believe, right, which is that the real God is Lucifer,
And
then it would certainly stand to follow that they would hate the people most Christians think of as the real God
Right.
and Jesus. It would make sense.
And I'm not saying that. Well, I am saying that, but I'm saying that because their own literature says that. There's all kinds of read this.
What was the verse?
Zechariah 11, verse 17. Jesus, John, it's got an H in it.
All right.
It doesn't matter. You found it.
All right.
Look
Can you
at
zoom
this.
in on that. I'll read it. All right. So, I think I can read it from here.
Woe
actually,
to the
John.
worthless shepherd who leaves his flock. A sword shall be against him, and against his right eye. His arm shall completely wither, and his right eye shall be totally blinded.
All right.
I mean, you see the eye connection?
I do.
The arm
yeah.
connection with the Masons?
It's not as dramatic as I would have hoped. But I do see the connection. Like, one eye, the one arm thing doesn't quite follow, but the eye thing is there. Yeah.
It's just add it to the preponderance. Like, obviously, any of these things by itself, it's not going to be a slam dunk. But when you've got 100, 500, 1,000, I mean, we're just never ending.
Yeah, well, and here's my thing, and I don't know if you can speak to this very much at all, but one of the things that has always bothered me is, everybody in the conspiracy theory world hates on the Masons, and that makes sense given the stuff we've discussed, right? But, like, all anybody gets at, kind of like you're talking about, is just, hey, there's a preponderance of evidence. Is there ever any just, like, hard and fast proof, Like, is there ever any just...
Proof of what?
Proof of them being trash human beings or bad people,
Yeah.
doing wild
Fauci. I just showed it to you.
I guess that's a fair point.
Louis Pasteur. Buzz Aldrin lying about going to the moon is lying to the American public. Does that mean maybe he's not a trash human?
I think it's good. I like waking up knowing that my government will tell me what to believe. I like knowing that I won't own anything in 2030. I like it. I'm a fan. I like being told when and where I can drive. I like that. So, you might be anti good things, but I'm a fan of having a heart attack at 33. I like that stuff.
Yeah, it sounded to me like you were asking me, is there any hard proof of any of them saying they're bad people? That seems to me like that was the question that entered my ears. Obviously, they're not going to say that they're evil.
Right.
No, they're gonna lie, because that's what they do,
yeah.
And they're of their father, the devil, who
right.
is a liar and the father of lies. The proof is in the pudding, man. The proof is in the results. And if that's what discernment is. You can't have everything be handed to you, being told the answers. You have to live the answers. You have to decide for yourself. And it's pretty easy for me to decide that these people are bad. And that's why I side on Christianity. And the main reason I still believe in the Bible, because there's a lot of bad stuff with organized religion, which we've talked about on past episodes, most notably with Garrison, and a lot of bad control and stuff with dogma.
Yeah.
But all that being said, these people, they take it to a whole nother level. And they hate everything that book preaches. And let's be honest, most of the stuff we get growing up in religion isn't actually from that book. It's twisted.
Right.
It's Pharisee-like twisted. And the more and the closer you live to what that book actually says, the more crazy you appear to those people, and the more hated you are to the world.
Right.
So, I mean, how much of a difference is there between the modern church and these people and the world? That remains a question to be asked. I mean, Jesus said himself, not everybody who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven.
Jeez, John.
Sorry.
Is that a fart?
Yeah. I thought it was going to be silent.
I
It
could
was
hear
not
that
silent.
through the mic.
John,
Holy
I said, not everybody who enters the kingdom of heaven. Or no,
The worst.
you farted at one of the best quotes of Jesus.
Such a bad.
You said not everybody who says to me, Lord,
Yeah.
and then John.
I know. I mean, what a buzzkill.
Sorry.
That's the most sacrilegious thing I've ever heard.
I hope you're happy, John.
I'm not. I thought it was going to be quiet, and it just was not quiet at all.
Leaving that in too.
Oh, we have to.
Well, so, I mean, not to bring the mood back down, but like you're talking about like organized religion now, and to me, a lot of organized religion almost seems like it's been captured by the type of organizations you're talking about.
100%.
The way they function, like at least in my experience, go to any like local church, there aren't what's the word? There aren't like explicit degrees in any local church, but you kind of work your way up.
Oh yeah.
Right? You get to know so and so, he's a good guy, right? And then he'll introduce you to X, Y, and Z, and you'll get to know them, and then maybe you'll become a deacon, right? And then maybe you'll become, and it's not that I have a problem with like the structure of organized religion necessarily, but certainly the way it functions in society currently, it doesn't work for the kinds of things that most religious organizations say they're about, which is like helping people, having spiritual interactions, that kind of thing. But also, like, as you work your way up, most people seem to be just looking for more power, more influence,
Yeah.
more money, more, business connections. Those don't seem to be super high ideals.
Nope.
So
It's a microcosm of that, right? Freemasonry, because that's
it seems like a forgive the pun, a lesser degree thereof.
right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, every it's all that's Satan's intention, I think, man, to get us all in many versions of that, to keep us trapped.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
The Bible is so full of such great quotes, and one that's applicable to this. The devil. This is in 2 Corinthians. Paul says it. The devil masquerades as an angel of light. And isn't that the best lie to have? That's the best lie you can ever have.
Yeah. Part of the thing that bothers me about that, though, and maybe this is getting a little far afield from the Masonic topic, though, is like, doesn't that sound like entrapment? Doesn't that sound almost like, and this may sound a little blasphemous, but doesn't that almost sound like God's letting somebody kind of trying to just like kind of entrap people, right? Like, doesn't that sound a little up?
I understand.
This is a difficult subject to deal with,
No,
but doesn't that sound a little
I understand what you're saying. I don't. To me, you would have a better argument by trying to pull that out from Job. Right, when God.
We can talk about that too. It's kind of a similar thing in that he's just like hands over the keys and says, "Here, do what you want."
Yeah, I don't know. Like, you'd have to ask. All right, two things. Number one, the devil masquerades as an angel of light. Like, that's literally what they're doing. That's literally Freemasonry. If you were to sum it up, they're saying he's the angel of light who is freeing everyone.
Right, you're
rule the
saying
entire
Satan
world.
is an angel of
Right.
light, which is what you've mentioned, and the Bible does like it says it in I forget what book. But
Yeah, 2 Corinthians. Second of
Okay.
all, to your point as to, hey, isn't that God entrapping us? Like, why doesn't God do anything about it? Why doesn't God make me follow him? Why doesn't God make you follow him? Why doesn't God just force everyone to do...
It's the whole problem of free will. Okay,
Yeah,
I get it.
It comes back to autonomy. And I don't know. I don't know, dude. That's my honest... Who knows that? You can't know that.
Right.
You can't know... You have... Can you... You might not even know that when we die. We don't know what happens when we die.
Yeah.
So that question will drive you freaking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, how have I reconciled it? I don't know if God can do anything about our free will. I think, is that against his nature? Is it against the nature of pure good and pure love to force someone's will to change? To me, we know
I think
it.
so. Yeah.
To me, we know what good is in our hearts, right? And, like, to rob someone of their power is, I don't know.
It's a violation. So I think maybe I can speak to
I'm
this
like
a little
losing
bit more.
words. You know what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say here?
So this is a long explanation, but bear with me. So well, not always, but for some time now, I've considered the idea that free will is perhaps like the highest moral code that exists, in that violation of free will is the worst thing you could do, to violate someone else's free will. And I know there are a lot of people out there who even perhaps think the idea of free will is kind of bupkis, right? Who think that, perhaps our environment shapes the way that we function, or think that some kind of, cosmic force pushes us one way or another. But personally, I think the idea of free will is so deeply ingrained in the way that we think about the way people act, the way people function, and it's so integral to the way that we have to interact with one another, right? So if you, go out and murder somebody, right, I can't treat that as just some destined action, otherwise I just let you go on your way. You've got to find some way to stop you from doing that, from violating that person's free will, right? So we've got to treat you as somebody who has acted of their own volition. Okay? Follow you with me so far?
I'm following you.
Okay. And so for some time now, I've considered that perhaps the only, if you want to like categorize wrongdoing, the only truly wrong thing to do to another human being or another entity is to rob them of their free will. Murdering somebody, stealing, these are all violations of a person's free will. Okay? What were you trying to say a second ago?
So let me finish your thought. So the reason that God doesn't stop Satan
That's what it was.
is, listen to this, is because he hasn't done that to us.
Right.
All of it has been of our own accord.
And that is the way I would have to think about that, because at least as far as I'm concerned, like, there are a few things that I don't necessarily have hard evidence for, but that I think at this point I just kind of have to believe to wake up tomorrow. And one of them is I have to believe I have the free will to act.
And you know what, Carson? That makes a lot of sense given their own philosophy, revelation of the method. They tell us everything they're doing, and we just go along with it. It's our will to go along with it.
Sure.
If you look into it far enough, we realize now it's bad. So let's quit going along with it.
Speaking in very distant terms, so
Yeah.
be more specific.
I'm saying, like, I'm trying to connect your point to your original question,
Okay.
right? Doesn't God seem like he's setting us up to fail?
Yeah, okay.
Right?
All right.
And your point is, hey, you can't rob other people of their free will. That's the ultimate bad.
Right.
And my point, trying to connect those two things, is perhaps God has not destroyed Satan yet is because he has not done that to us yet.
Okay.
Because think about it. Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
Eve had the option to eat that dang fruit, and she did. She could have not. Right? We have the option to not engage in all of this stuff, but we do. Especially, right,
This
Wait.
stuff. What do you mean?
the corporate system, the freaking, all these, just society. I don't like society. I don't. But society. It encompasses all of society. Society and community are different things. Society is the satanic inversion of God's community.
Break that down more, because I'm not sure I completely grasp
Community.
what you're saying about society.
I'd say society is evil.
Yeah, but
And-
I understand that, but define society.
Society is the totality of everything that we think life is, that is given to us, not that we've experienced ourselves. The economic system.
Give me some specific.
Now, I'm
Okay. All right.
getting there.
Cool.
The economic system, the popular culture, the way of life of America in the middle class, and that you're born, you got to get this house, you go to school, you go to college, you get a job, the entire corporate system, the entire, like, even like holidays and culture and what you do with your family, all of that is inverted on actual community building. It is a satanic inversion of community building, and I think and it's egged on and churned on by the Freemasonic system, ultimately in philosophical origins, from the devil, who hates the creation of God and what God wants for us. And my point is, we willingly do that, especially once we figure out what's happening. Because I've willingly kept going in it, because a lot of times I feel powerless to get out.
What else are you gonna do?
Right.
So,
And my point is, in their philosophy, revelation of the method, it's a two-edged sword, right? They do it perhaps to get out of their own karmic break, or because God forces them to. And if enough people, like, perhaps it's like a Lot tipping point type thing. And maybe that's why the world's waking up right now. Because isn't there, like, there's this great awakening?
you mean like Lot from the Bible?
Right. Let me explain that briefly. A lot of people, I forget, everybody ain't Church of Christ like me. So when Lot, Abraham's nephew, moves into Sodom and Gomorrah, God tells Abraham, hey, Sodom and Gomorrah are the most famous wicked cities ever, right?
Yeah.
Like up there with Babylon. God tells Abraham, be like, hey, I'm going to destroy these places. And Abraham's like, no, my freaking nephew lives there. If I can find 50 people, you spare it. And God's like,
All right.
All right.
Cool.
Try your best, bud.
This is a good
And then-
paraphrase of this
And
story.
then Abraham's like, dadgummit, God's right. Come on, God, 40 people. And God's sitting there. He's like,
Cool, bro.
all right, man, try your 40. So Abraham runs, and he's like, oh, dadgummit, God's right again. All right, you got 30.
And works
And
his way down to what?
Works
10?
his way down to his nephew and his family, which is like 4 or whatever. And so,
Well, no, Abraham works his way down. To
right.
It's 10
Yeah,
now.
I don't remember the story exactly.
Pretty sure.
But
it's
the
10.
point remains that,
God couldn't find that many good people
and he knew it.
in Sodom and Gomorrah.
Right. So Abraham was like, dadgummit, save my nephew. And
Yeah.
God sends the angels in there and saves him.
Right.
And Lot's wife famously looked back, turned to the pillar of salt.
Right. So
The
what tipping
point-
point are you talking
The
about, though?
point is, the tipping point is, perhaps that is happening right now with the revelation of the method and everybody wake up. And the more and more people that are, and this is God talking to Satan. Being like, hey, Satan, these people are doing it of their own free will, but they're starting to wake up. They're getting pissed. And Satan's like, oh, there's still X amount of people that are choosing. There's still X amount of people that are choosing. And perhaps there's enough people that can wake up to where in some kind of cosmological or metaphysical scale, our free will has been impeded upon, and God will end it and destroy Satan.
Yeah,
Just thoughts.
I want to speak on that real quick. Sorry. So I've been thinking about the conversation that God has with Satan in the book of Job,
All right.
and I've been thinking, why was Satan there? And God asks him, like, where are you coming from? And he
Right.
says, well, I've been coming from all over your
Roaming
earth.
the earth. Yeah.
Yeah. I've almost thought about it as he's coming in to tell him, well, it's almost brag about it. It's like, this is how much control I have over your earth.
That is the way it sounds a little bit.
And then God
yeah.
comes back, well, have you considered Job? And I almost kind of see that to an extent. It's a metaphor for what's going on and why the revelation of method happens. Because it's like, it's almost like these people are trying to mock God. Be like, hey, this is how much control I have over your earth. And then, in the end, God's going to come back, well, have you considered my servant Job? And it's going to be, have you considered you're wrong and you have no control of it whatsoever? So I almost see it's like the revelation of method is like they're just trying to mock God and mock the people who see it, to be like, and almost deject you, to be like, look how much control we have.
Well, guess what? It's
It's very effective.
it's working great.
It's very effective.
Well, hey, John, to your point there, two things to that. Number one, didn't Satan say the same thing to Jesus when he was tempted in the desert? Be like, took him on a high mountain. Be like,
Yeah, no,
look,
John, that makes a lot of sense.
look at all of this that I control. Jesus didn't say, no, you don't. You
Right.
don't control it. What are you talking about? I'm Jesus.
And this is why I have such a hard time dwelling on this sort of stuff. And I hate it when I mention that. People are like, oh, well, it's all going to work out fine. I don't care. Life, when you look into how much of the system you exist in seems to be captured by these supposedly evil entities, it is horrifically dejecting. And so that's why I have such a hard time considering it, because it is so demoralizing.
It is. It is. And I agree. It's like when you just focus on the system that they control, it's like an eternal beast that'll never die.
Yeah.
But I want to put a counter, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. What about God's system? What is God's system?
And I mean, okay. I'm
Like
sorry.
think of, and what makes me excited, and I've ranted about this. Like, think of the land beyond the sky. Think about a place that they can't get to. Think about the very nature itself. Like, the idea that there could be a gigantic cyclone at the North Pole, in the middle of which is a humongous mountain upon which you can walk to heaven to meet God. Even the gigantic totality of the corporate system pales in comparison to the awesomeness of that. See the point I'm making? And in the I'm saying they can't even touch that, dude. They can't even touch what God actually is or where he actually is. They have to just imitate it on the earth. They have to imitate what the structure and an inverted structure of heaven on the earth. And when you get to the beauty and mystery of nature and our identity and our origin and who we are and the very ground beneath your feet, the real common law version of the corporate BS, which when you think about it, it's really an illusion of the mind. The whole corporate system, it's based on the mind. Now, sure, it's grown and it's grown and it's grown like an egregore, like a dementor feeding off souls. But when you get down to it, the corporate's in your mind. The real creation of God is under our feet. It's things we can touch. And that, well, this certainly does not make all your concerns go away. I totally get what you're saying, but it's more powerful. It really is. And it's how do we identify with that versus what we have to be in on a daily basis. It's like a daily struggle to balance which system we're leaning in. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm trying to say by that?
Yeah. So, two things. I think you're correct. But the problem comes in with the whole it's the what have you done for me lately idea almost, in that, like, guess what I have to do tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
I gotta wake up and go to my corporate job. I gotta walk into an office that makes me want to jump out a window with a gun and shoot myself while I'm falling to the ground. Okay, that's what it makes me want. Guess what you have to do? You've got to wake up and pretend to go to work. John, everybody's got to wake up and go to work at their corporate job. All right, like, our lives, to a large degree, most people's lives are captured by that system. And so, like, that's all well and good. It's great that there's beauty some places, but for most of us, most of your life is captured by a forced interaction because you've got to eat tomorrow and you've got to provide for your kids and you've got to pay for the pool boy that your wife's going to sleep with next week to clean your pool. Otherwise, your neighbors are going to hate you, okay? That's what most people's lives are, and it's that forced interaction with the system that continues to degrade and grind them into the dirt. Now, one thing that is I've started to try to struggle to do that is very difficult is to consciously engage with good, with beauty. And I mean, it's almost like that, I can't remember where it is in the Bible, but it's that verse that basically discusses, like, whatever's good, whatever's pure, whatever's lovely, dwell on those things.
Yeah.
And to your point, that is something that one has to do, but it takes so much discipline, and that's something that I'm beginning to discover, not to like make this about me or overshare, but like over the past, I don't know, few weeks really, is like just making a conscious effort to simply meditate on things that are good, that are beautiful in some regard. And that is virtually impossible when you've got to wake up tomorrow and go to a building with nets around it to keep people from jumping off and killing themselves.
Yeah. I mean, I think everything you said there is very relatable to 99% of people. But you said a word that I want to touch on. Forced interaction. It's an interesting word. So, two things. Number one, how many of these interactions are forced? Now, force implies, hey, it's either forced or it's not. But I'm trying to work on myself too, having a sharing party here. Not everything is so black and white. There's degrees of these interactions that you have to do. Some of them are harder and harder to get away from, but some of them are pretty easy. You know how you avoid your wife not sleeping with the pool boy to get your clean your pool fixed? You know, all that, whatever the heck you said.
Right.
Don't have a pool.
All right.
There's simple steps you can take. Minimalism. The less stuff you have to worry about, that's one less forced interaction you don't have to deal with. Now, obviously, it's asymptotic, okay? 100%. 100%'s death, okay, or the Garden of Eden. You're not going to have 100%.
You lost me.
Are you not? Jesus, getting away from the system.
Okay.
Say you have 100.
What do you mean by 100%'s death? That phrase didn't make any sense.
100 success, getting away from the system entirely. That's called death.
Okay, that didn't make any sense the way you said it.
Well, that's what I meant.
Okay.
So
now we know.
Say you have 100 interactions that you claim are 100 interactions with the corporate death system that you claim are forced interactions. 50 of them probably would be pretty easy with a little bit of discipline to break. And how quickly will your attitude change? the less, because it's tied to your outlook and your perspective, okay? And the less of these connections you have with the egregore, with the matrix, the more and more positive your outlook will be. So discipline is hard. This life is hard. We're not just going to wake up sunshines and rainbows. It's freaking work. It's work to get. It's like the Matrix. You got to rip tentacles out of you one by one. But with each tentacle that goes out, your disposition becomes better and your outlook becomes, in general, more positive. And perhaps the nihilistic attitude that was expressed in that rant, which, hey, I'm there. Okay, I'm not trying to sound holier than thou. But perhaps with one step in the opposite direction, like the opposite of what they've done to us, like the frog in boiling water, but turn that around. Hey, just one step towards the light, one step towards the light. Maybe it won't feel that much different day by day, but you add a bunch of days together, you add a bunch of weeks together, a bunch of months together, you can look back and your life will be better because of these things you've cut out of your life. And sure, you're not going to get to the point of 100%. Perhaps you'll still have to pay that mortgage, right? Perhaps you'll still have to deal with X, Y, and Z that is of 100% corporate satanic origin. But if you're dealing with 5, that's a lot better than dealing with 58.
It's true.
And
it's true.
That leads closer to God, and it leads on, self-improvement. That's why I have a ton of respect for. That's why I have a ton of respect for Owen Benjamin. I mean, he's trying his best to do it, man. He's still on the freaking internet. He's probably still using dollar bills as currency, but he's probably doing some trading too. He's probably trading a goat for a sheep, freaking Settlers of Catan style. Okay, he's trying, and I gotta respect that. And how much you think? How much better?
Man, that's great.
How much better has his life? I'm saying, look, like. It is a move, and I do this too, to be like, oh, it's great for somebody else. What about me?
No, it's not that it's great for somebody else, but it's good for him. That's awesome, right? But that's him now.
Well, my point is good for him can be good for us, dude. It's like the parable of the talents. We're not going to do the exact same thing he's doing right now. But we can go in the same direction as him.
Yeah,
we can 100% do that tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree.
All right? And that's what we should do because that'll improve our lives and it'll improve our outlook. And just sitting there and, moaning about how, what we don't have. And I'm the world's worst at this. I'm not trying to harp. I do this all the time, dude. Every day I'm like, man, what if I just had this or what if I just had that? We have the power to start on the direction of change. And it's a struggle. It's freaking hard. And accepting days of failure is a part of it, man. And that's where the grace of Jesus Christ comes in. But not moving.
Yeah, no, I think you're right about all that. I think you're absolutely right. The thing that I can't stand is just when a lot of people deal with those things that I'm describing as frustrating. Dealing with your job every day. Dealing with your husband who's an ass, your wife who, whatever it happens to be, your family who thinks you're a moron, whatever it happens to be. And, one of the things that I hear told to people like that, maybe it's you, maybe it's me, maybe it's whoever all the time, is just like, oh, well, good stuff is out there. Doesn't help those people, right? That doesn't do anything for those people, right then. And so that's my only point.
Well, let's be honest, man. Can those the biggest help you can be is to start helping yourself.
No, that's true.
Okay, and let the grace of God cover the rest of it.
Yeah. So
who gives a crap what they say? Masons. It's episode 33. Let's end it with this. Why the 33, man? What's so special about that number? Why is it in every freaking news article and every event that happens all over the place?
It's a big claim to not back up at all, but all right.
It's all, I'm right. All right, to those people who want to look into it, look into 33 if you don't know anything about it. It's one of the most powerful things out there. Why the 33?
Why the 33 degrees of Freemasonry? What are you asking me?
Yeah, why is that their number? Why is that so special?
I mean, the most obvious answer is Jesus.
Yeah, I would think in their philosophy, dude, 1/3 of the angels went with Satan. To them, their boys, the people they worship, the people that they think they're free, 1/3 of the beings of heaven to which we as humans owe our power and allegiance were brave enough to rebel against the tyrannical God.
Mm.
And that's why that's why they love it so much. It's honor to them. Right?
That actually makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ died at 33 years old. And this, that gets back into why did 1/3 of the angels rebel? Did they do it just to mock? Did Satan be like, all right, we're capped at 33% of everybody here, let's go, right? Did more people want to go, or more angels want to go? Just to mock Jesus Christ because he died at age 33. Elohim, the plural name of God, appears 33 times in Genesis. Genesis itself is 33 in Pythagorean numerology. The Kármán line, which is the international set boundary for space, is at 33,000 feet tall. The 33 is everywhere. You got 33 vertebrae in your spine. 330,000 feet.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
I left off a 0.
Because I've definitely been at 33,000 feet, and it didn't seem very space-like.
No, I left off a 0. Look up the Kármán line. It'll be generally accepted at 330,000 feet tall, 62.5 miles approximately.
I believe you.
Okay.
That makes sense now. It didn't a second ago.
33 is built into nature everywhere, and I think they are both mocking that and honoring their 33. The Hermon Hotel, right? The angels that landed in the Book of Enoch landed on Mount Hermon. That's on 33 degrees north latitude. It's freaking everywhere. It's just is what it is at this point. It's neither good nor bad. It's built into the nature of reality. They're mocking God with it. I think we can use it as power.
Well, so okay, you put a lot of stock in numerology.
Yeah.
Why?
Because they do.
But you've said that everything they do is bullshit. It's the exact opposite.
No.
So
okay,
why do you put a lot of stock in numerology? Shouldn't you do the exact opposite and ignore it?
No. Everything, their interpretation of everything is nonsense. The actual actions themselves, it's the whole esoteric, exoteric thing. What they give us,
what you mean by that?
Things that they do and say mean one thing to them and another thing to us, the profane, the vulgar. Everything that they give us is nonsense. But what they're actually doing has power and meaning.
Let's hold on there for a second. I know we're trying to wrap this up, but you mentioned something, the profane, the vulgar.
That's what they call us.
That's what the Masons call the common people.
Right, in their own literature, all over the place.
Yeah.
Albert Pike, the other, I can't remember the other Albert guy's name. There's another Albert who wrote a bunch of stuff. This is all in the Altian Child's video. Manly P. Hall.
Right.
Blavatsky, all these Masonic writers, that is what they call us. That is how they view us. People who aren't in their club, who aren't enlightened, as they say, who haven't received all this special knowledge, gone through all their initiations, they are profane and they are vulgar. They give us...
If that doesn't bother you, what are you
doing? Does
doing?
it not sound like The Party from Orwell's 1984, how they view the proletariat?
It does, yeah. Yeah, that's a good analogy. It sounds exactly like that.
That's what science is. That's what science is. And I'll link another guy who goes through all this. His name is Michael. His channel is called Schism 206 until it got deleted from YouTube, but he's got a website. He breaks down mainstream heliocentric science, all right, and how that is a profane, exoteric interpretation of esoteric Masonic occult philosophy, and it's fascinating. Science, like if you believe the Earth goes around the sun and that there's black holes 20 trillion miles away, that is the same thing as their pagan religion. I'm serious. It's just the profane interpretation of it. It's fascinating. There's like 50-something video series, and it's been deleted off of YouTube. You could find it back before the Great Purge.
Which, I mean, that's another thing. Why do people feel the need to get rid of all this information?
I mean, perhaps what I've already said.
Yeah, well, that's the crazy thing.
God's
is
like, all right.
if there are a bunch of crackpot conspiracy theorists out there who are making up a bunch of bullshit, right? What's the harm? What's the harm? Who's it hurting? Nobody.
That's how you know we're onto something.
Yeah. I mean, that might be one of the best arguments for your side of that coin, is that you can't put information out like that out there and not have it be attacked.
You can look up, RBIs and EPAs for every single pitcher and hitter on the New York Yankees for 150 years, but you start looking into stuff like this, it's gone. One of those things has value, one of them doesn't.
Which is real eerie. It's very eerie. And I just don't... I don't even like thinking about it because it's terrifying. And I don't know if there are even any like hard... But the relying on the internet for that is just as scary because like that can be scrubbed. So what are you going to do?
Well, even the freaking books, man, like... Who owns the biggest libraries in the world? It's all freaking government. It's all been corporatized.
That's true. What's the biggest library in the world? Is it the Library of Congress? Do we know? That seems like something you would know.
Officially, I don't know. I mean, it's probably the Vatican Library or places like it. I don't know what the official answer would be.
The Vatican's weird. Oh, John's looking it up. All right. Look at me.
Yeah.
I knew a government fact. I can't think of anything I care about less than geology and the government.
Dude, even before the internet, information was being more and more centralized.
Yeah. Jeez, it's terrifying. All right, I don't know how much more of this I can stand.
I mean, yeah, I'll sum it up like this. For those people who aren't conspiracy minded, who think all this is two people talking nonsense and they're,
they haven't made it this far. They stopped listening. They don't listen to us.
But the point remains, as I said in the beginning, hey, call it nonsense, but our founding fathers didn't think it was. And those guys are heroes, allegedly.
Right.
So if it's important to them, it should be important to us because our country was founded upon it. I've seen George Washington's Masonic Bible myself in New York City. I would love to open that thing up, but man, they'd have the CIA on my ass like that if I touched that thing. Because it's got lasers all over it. It's freaking national treasure.
It's like that scene from National
It really
Treasure.
is, man. It's in like this case that's got lasers everywhere. Anyway, temperature controlled.
Right.
It was cool.
Maybe that can be the heist we pull off.
Stealing George Washington's Masonic Bible.
Yeah.
Good Lord, man. You'd need like 400 Gatling guns.
That's a great plot for a conspiracy theory movie. If they were ever going to have one, that's a great plot for it.
No, I'd want a real map of the earth wherever they're hiding that. That'd be the best one. Somebody's got it. Somebody's got a map of that North Pole area.
Maybe it's the symbol of the UN.
Maybe so. Oh, speaking of that, you know how many quadrants that thing is divided into?
How many?
Take a guess. It's 33.
I
man.
do declare.
It's 33.
Hot damn. All right.
And I'll sum it up with this: the Masons rule the earth, but they don't rule the world. God still rules the world.
How positive. Yay. If you can't tell, I still feel pretty negative. All right. Well, that's it. I've had all of this I can stand. I'm going to go contemplate suicide in the bathroom, hugging my knees. Thank you for listening. We'll see you guys next time.
All right.
Bye.